Hello and welcome to Gaia Blooming GPS. This is where we come and pull cards for the Astro week ahead. I am Mimi. I'm here with Nicole Oman.
Hello.
And we're going to dive in. We're actually diving in with a little relief in sight. We are starting this week with the last week of Jupiter retrograde in Virgo. So Jupiter has been retrograde since, do you remember how long was it? Was it right as January began, I believe, is when it went retrograde. So we've been retrograding for quite a while. And here's our last week to really dig in, sink into these final lessons. And I'm going to start with my Wisdom of the Oracle card, the building block card. And Virgo is this energy of our reality, our daily reality. And I always take it into the reality of our body. Our body is like the realest thing on this planet. It's the thing that we can relate to the most. And this card, this building blocks card, is saying we're in the midst of an alchemical process. We're turning iron into gold. So really, through the process of connecting to our body, we're in alchemy. We're shifting what we didn't really recognize was a strength within ourselves, our feeling body, into something that's really strong for us. And I love the Osho cards that I pulled. I pulled understanding, inner voice, and trust. And I think this is coming with our body. We're coming into understanding how our body shows up for us, understanding what our body is trying to tell us, understanding that our inner voice is part of our body, part of the feelings, whether it's a physical feeling or even an emotional feeling in our bodies, that's part of our inner voice, and learning to trust it. The other card that I have that's not quite there yet, I pulled the Courage card. So it's Courage reversed. So we're not quite there. We're still like in this process through this, this final week of retrograde, coming to find the courage, coming to find the light within. We're blooming to that inner wisdom. We're, still in the process of turning that iron into gold. But really trust your process. Really take time every day to connect into your body. Notice it. There's a ancient technique called the inner smile. It's a Taoist technique, and you basically just send an inner smile to your organs or to your bones or, parts of your physicality. You just smile at it and hold gratitude for its process in your body. So that's one way that you can always take to connect in with your body. If you're like, well, I don't really know what I'm feeling, what's going on in there, take time, do that inner smile, and you'll start to feel, your organs will feel that gratitude, and you'll feel them feeling that gratitude. It's one of my favorite techniques. I love it. And the other card that I pulled, Jupiter is abundance, and from the goddesses, I pulled Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for your today and all of your tomorrows. And I feel like, with Jupiter this last week and all these other retrogrades that we've been working with, there's a little bit of that pulling back. And I know for myself personally, I've gone through the am I going to be okay financially? Is everything working out? And this card is saying, hey, it's all working out. We're turning iron into gold. The universe has got you. These are all part of the building blocks. So trust that process. Nicole?
Yeah, so since Jupiter has been in retrograde, a lot of things might have slowed down on you wanting to progress, or I do also see what Mimi said with, I see body issues, and I see how we're moving forward career-wise. So it looks like you had maybe something that you were building, the building blocks card, and something you wanted to put together. And I think that happened, but what I'm seeing is that you need to look at your motivations. And what you had to see is your motivations were very important in the way that you were going out and putting out this effort. So it could be starting a business. It could be starting a family. It could be starting, mine was writing a book. And it also could be getting healthy or working on your body. And I think that you hit some goals that you wanted to hit, but moving forward next week, the last lesson is make sure you know what your motivations are. Make sure, I think in the beginning you didn't really know what you wanted, and it's starting to become a little clearer. And I think that's what this retrograde period is to get clearer on what you want, how you want to do it, and why. I'm getting a big why you want to do it is such an important aspect. And as you continue and as next week happens, I'm getting all these really great cards. I have the rebel. So this person knowing who they are, knowing what they want, and allowing themselves to be guided by their own inner light to break the chains of what you felt has been holding you back. And I think the Jupiter retrograde itself has been holding you back, but it's because they wanted to show you an out of integrity motivation that you had in your body that you have to let go or renegotiate that agreement so you can go ahead and move forward and be in your power. I also want to say that I'm getting some things of watch your thoughts because it's affecting your body. It's affecting your body maybe physically how you're going about doing things. It might make you feel lethargic. It also might make you feel like you're not worth enough to do what you're wanting to do. So you have to be careful. Your thoughts are really affecting your physicality, and they want you to know that. So as you move on, be more conscious about what you're putting out there on yourself, what you're believing. So, and the last couple things I'm going to give you, don't focus on poverty. Focus on abundance. Do not focus on what you don't have. Focus on abundance. Focus on what you already have, the abundance already in your life. Focus on that, not the fear of losing money or not having enough. And then as we move forward, I have the up card. So your energy is going to raise, your vibration is going to raise, everything is going to feel a lot lighter. Everything is going to feel like you can move forward a little bit easier. There's nothing your guides and angels want more than to see you step into the truth of who you are. Start looking to the good within you, the value you actually have, and the difference you really do make. Start to see yourself as the universe sees you. Human is what you are wearing on the outside. Inside, you are a brilliant light of divine source. And remember who you are. I'm getting that with this too. It's like, remember who you are, and that is how you start moving forward in creating the abundance that you want and a healthier body.
Awesome. Love that. All right, so we're moving into Tuesday with the moon shifting into Aries, and I want to mention we are in the dark of the moon. We're building to a new moon coming on Friday, and I love this. I feel like this first card actually really ties into Nicole's message, that motivation message. I pulled the Loyal Heart card, and this card could be about, loyalty, who's loyal to you, who are you loyal to, but how I see it, again, is what Nicole said. What's your motivation? And is it heart-centered? Are you being loyal to that good feeling in your heart? When you're like on the right path, I feel like our heart is like, gives us like gasps of joy, like, yes, go in that direction, that feels good. Are you being loyal to that feeling? Or are you falling into, kind of the earthly realm motivation of like, I have to do this, I have to have this, I have to do this. You can get there, and your heart will take you there. So be loyal to the energy. And I also like taking this to another thing Nicole often says is, who's on Team Nikki? Who's on Team Mimi? Who's on your team? Who's loyal to your energy? Who's feeding you? And really pay attention to who's working with you on your path. I think that's really important. And I love the other cards that I pulled. I pulled the funny Easy Does It card, Unag, Easy Does It, but slowing down in reverse, and also the Source, conditioning and breakthrough. And what I feel with these cards is, as we are in so much of this retrograde, including Mars retrograde, Mars rules this Aries energy, there is such a pulling back energy, this slowing down energy. I think the slowing down card in reverse, it's not saying like it's not like going to be like suddenly things are going to be speeding up. I think it's recognizing that figuring out that heart-centered motivation, it's the perfect progress. It's the perfect energy. It's not fast. It's not slow. It's just right. It's taking you into this breakthrough energy. It's releasing you from this conditioning. It's helping you with this source energy, the creator energy within you. So even though you may feel like there's this slow down energy, if you can focus on your heart and let that be the important thing in this Aries moon, this dark of the moon Aries moon, not really focusing on the outer, what's happening all out here, but instead, what's happening in here? How is my heart opening to my path? Then you're going to be exactly where you're at. You're going to be at Easy Does It. You're going to be at source. You're going to be at the breakthrough, and you're going to be releasing that conditioning. But I think we are so conditioned to like, I have to be doing all these things outside. We're so outward focused. And so this energy is like, focus here. Let this opening, let this be what carries you forward with this Aries moon. Nicole?
I agree. And what I have is there's going to be a bit of not a fight, but there is going to be two options that you'll have. And it's a bit of an argument between, so this is the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is structure. It's, going to university, going to an established business. This is the Pope. Established religion. And then I have the High Priestess. So who are you? Who is your master? Are you the master of structure? Do you like that? Or do you want your master to be your intuition? And how do these two work together? So there's a bit of this push-pull, this tug between your mind and your heart, structure versus creativity or intuition. And so this is male and female, but it's learning how to work with both of them. I always see it, especially around creativity. It's nice to have, being a painter, it's nice to have technique. It's nice to know that. But if you're a painter without a perspective or a vision, or it's not connected to something within your heart, then you're just a really good technician. And you can make greeting cards and stuff, but no one's going to buy your work. But if you have just the creativity without the structure, you have all these great paintings that you might be inspired by, but they don't affect everybody on a collective. To get both, to have an impact on yourself and the world at large, you need structure and intuition, structure and heart, mind, body, spirit. And you need to find all three. And I think Aries is going to help you do that. But the problem is, I think there's some mind patterns that need to, or bad mind behaviors and habits that are needing to be released and resolved, and being more conscious of the one mind or your own existence. So hold on, I'll back it up a little bit, and I want to make it a little more simple. There is a mind pattern that is happening. And so this is what I want to read. This is coming up to me. Every moment there is a possibility to be total. Whatsoever you are doing, be absorbed in it so utterly that the mind thinks of nothing. It's just there and just presence. So immersion, think immersion. So if you're wanting to get into your creativity, think immersion. Immerse yourself in what you're doing. And more totality will be coming, and the taste of totality will make you more capable of being total. So be aware of where you're scattering yourself, where you're in the past or in the future. You become way more potent when you're right here in the middle, not having expectation of what should or shouldn't be happening. And try to see when you're not total. These are the moments when that will have to be dropped slowly. That's what Mimi was saying. Slow down so you can drop these bad behaviors. When you're not total, whenever you are in your head, thinking, brooding, calculating, cunning, clever, you're not total. Slowly, slowly slip out of these moments. It's just old habits. Habits die hard, but they will certainly die. If one persists, they die. So kill off these, these mind patterns, and you will find where your structure and your intuition align, and you will be unstoppable. That's what that Aries moon is saying to me. Follow your heart. Follow what you love. Love, 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 love.
Love that. I'm actually wearing, this is a love pendant that I'm wearing today as well. So yay. All right. So we're moving into the moon in Taurus on Thursday, setting us up for the new moon on Friday. As the moon shifts into Taurus, we're in the dark of the moon. Again, I'm going to start with the Wisdom of the Oracle card. I'm loving these cards today. I pulled the Come to the Edge card. And funny enough with that, from the goddesses, I pulled Ishtar boundaries. So come to the edge, but know your own personal boundaries. And I feel like this card, it's telling you to take a leap of faith. Trust yourself. I feel like this is asking you to come to the edge of your soul. Who are you? Who did you come here to be? What kind of talents did you come to bring? The moon in Taurus takes us into the energy of our beauty, our talents, knowing and owning our worth. And so it's like, own it. Come to the edge of yourself. Show it off. Be willing to, be willing to bring it. I'm actually going to read a little bit of it because I love this. I love what it says in here too. Facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. I think there's so many parts of ourselves that are unknown. I've been like, with all this retrograde, like I've been saying in my horoscopes, I've been digging in deep, like, who am I? Who have I kind of tucked away in that fertile soil of myself that has always been this, like, pulsing part of who I am? And that's part of coming to the edge, I think. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self, your talents. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. There's Nikki's message right there. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. And so, come to the edge in yourself. And I think the boundaries card with this, the Ishtar boundaries card, is actually really great because this edge, it's not what other people say that you're edge. It's not what other people say that you are. This is a deep internal knowing. This has nothing to do with those outside influences. So come to the edge with yourself through knowing yourself. And there's that integration card. The integration card is like we're bringing in these deeper part of ourselves and integrating them in. And here's that energy again. Guidance reverse. And I think this is saying, again, this energy is not somebody outside you being like, you're a peacock. You should be like a peacock. You're like, no. I'm a raven. I'm okay being a raven. I'm in that magic. I'm in that strength. This isn't about somebody else's idea of who you are. This is about integrating who you really are, finding your awareness, peeling the layers of yourself to really show up as you are. So, really listen to yourself as we build to this new moon, as we're in the dark of the moon. Who are you, and what is that pulsing energy that's been kind of, buried for a lot of your life, that's wanting to come forth and bloom in this energy? Nicole?
My message is very similar to that, to be honest with you. So what I'm getting is that it's a lot about coming into self-worth, and that's such a Taurus lesson anyway. And so Mimi is absolutely right. You cannot get this from someone else. And I feel like you're craving external recognition, and to be recognized by either someone in your life. It might be a lover, it might be a mentor, or it might be society as a whole. But if you can't recognize your own worth, then how is anyone else going to recognize you? If you don't believe in your own message, your own talents, your own gifts, and your own wisdom, how can anyone else appreciate and recognize your own gifts, your talents, your artistry, your message, whatever it is? You must recognize yourself first, or you'll never feel the real worth. People will be able to compliment you all you want them to, but it will only be a little hit. It will only get you to like the next day, but it won't fulfill you. It won't satiate you. People can throw compliments you all day long. If you don't have the recognition within yourself and you don't believe that, you're not even going to hear them. They're going to bounce right off of you. You're not going to allow yourself to absorb them because there's a part of your mind that doesn't believe it. So how do you get to this place? How do you get to the place of feeling your worth? You could do certain techniques. You can say those things, but if you, like I said, if you're even saying them to yourself and you still don't believe them, they're going to bounce right off of you. But you feel into it. Feel into your power. I love the raven, actually. The raven's been coming a lot to me. And Stephen Farmer, I saw him last week, and he does a lot of the spirit animal cards. And one of the decks, the first thing I pulled was the raven, and it said, own your power. So the first thing is, if you need help, call upon the spirit of the raven to help you own your power, to see through, to flutter. What I was shown when I connected to the raven is it did this to my heart. Like it was fanning away the fear that was built up inside of myself to allow me to see my own light, to see my own wisdom, and to own my power. And in that night, I had to read Stephen Farmer. And that was really cool. I had to own myself, though, and own my power and own my gifts, because I read Teacher. And that was kind of crazy for me. That was like, oh, okay. Now I'm seeing where I really am. Maybe the student's becoming the teacher, you know. So to do that, you must allow yourself to shake that fear to really be able to see your own beauty, your own light, your own beauty. If you can't absorb you are beautiful, you have some work to do. If I look you in the eye and say you are beautiful, feel how that feels. And if there's a resistance in there, that's where you start. Because that's the truth. But where are you wrapped around where you're not? That's where you feel less worth. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're talented. Find where that trigger is, and that's where you work.
I love that. I love that so much. So moving into the new moon, 16 degrees on Friday, and it's happening at 12:29 p.m. Pacific time. So we have an afternoon new moon. I want to just mention that this new moon is, of course, talk about this in the horoscope, but it's going to be trine Pluto, trine the energies of the North Node and Jupiter in Virgo. So it's like grand trine Earth energy in this new moon, and it's going to be in conjunct. So not quite seeing eye to eye with Saturn and Sagittarius. And what's really interesting, especially not seeing eye to eye with Saturn and Sagittarius, looking at old beliefs, the cards that I pulled, love this. I love how this is working with Nicole's last message. I pulled regeneration, starting with Wisdom of the Oracles. And again, I'm going to read this card because it's so good. Second chances are available now. Whatever opportunities you thought were dead are now revived in a more authentic, stronger form. Whatever you may have perceived as a failure or loss is now being replaced by something better and more powerful growing in its place. This rebirth is assured. Step into your new life. Destiny is being fulfilled in wondrous ways. And that, along with the two of these cards, letting go in reverse and beyond illusion in reverse, I'm almost feeling that something that you may have put aside, like maybe based on old, outdated beliefs, is actually going to start. Like you may have thought that tree was dead, and suddenly a flower is blooming on it. Something is starting to flower in your life that previously you thought maybe was dead in the water. So we have to put aside those beliefs, those old outdated beliefs, and hand it over to the universe. Go with the flow with this thing that's being reborn for you. You know, the moon in Taurus, new moon in Taurus, is such a powerful new moon energy. I really feel like new moons in earth energy is really powerful for the manifestation process of implementing our seeds, implementing our intentions, actually bringing things into the physical, making things actually flower. But you, you as yourself, you with high priestess energy, need to be a part of this by recognizing, I put this thing aside and my heart's saying, I still want it. I'm still feeding into this energy. That may have been part of that like heartfelt process earlier this week, reopening to your heart to these things. My other card, I feel like I'm all over the place, but it all comes together, whether you're following me or not. It's healing. You're finding healing in honoring that place in the card. You're healing that tree. You're healing that seed. You're healing this thing that you never really let go of. You may have thought that you let go of it, but you never really did. And so there's a resurge, a rebirth, a regeneration in this energy. And the universe is saying, trust it. You know, this healing is part of it. Go with the flow of this. I think we get so caught up on the outcome of things. And part of this going with the flow, part of this healing, it's not about the outcome, but this is taking you somewhere on your path that you need to go. So don't get caught up like, oh, this flowering of this tree is going to give me an apple. And then it ends up this tree is a peach tree. And you're like, oh, but I wanted it to be an apple. Don't get caught up in the fruit. Instead, get caught up in that feeling and that regeneration that it's showing you and where that's taking you in your life, because it's taking you somewhere important. Nicole?
I agree with all of this, actually. I have the go with the flow card as well. I have the moment to moment, and with that, I have the postponement card. So I feel like whatever's going to happen in this new moon, you are going to build yourself to this abundant, you know, Zorba the Buddha I have underneath all of these cards. But I do see, like, right in the future that there is a bit of a postponement, because what new moons are really great to set intentions and really own who you want to be, so the universe can start bringing that back. But I do see a new opportunity coming. I just think there's going to be a slight postponement, and when you're in the slight postponement, do not lose your faith. Don't lose hope. Because like Mimi said, you might have something that's going to take you right to it. Now, I do feel, like Mimi said, I think that there's some destiny going on. And I think the reason why something is being reborn, that this old thing is being rejuvenated, because you had to step away from it for a while to get a new perspective and become the person you are now. Now you can go back off that, take that thing off the shelf, and you're a different person now. And if you go back to it, and the fear might be, well, it didn't work then, why is it going to work now? Well, it didn't work then because you aren't ready for it yet. And you have to learn the beauty of postponement, because when things fall away from us, it might not be gone forever, but we have to build ourselves in a new way, and you need space from it. And I think this is what has happened. And I think you're going to, I don't know, it almost feels like you're going to restart an old passion. You're going to restart an old relationship. You're going to restart, you're going to start an old project that you've had. And I also feel like whatever this is through this, there's some storm energy. There's some things that happened that was tumultuous. It was crazy. It was, it was intense. But through it, you are surfacing. You are surfacing from the storm. You are surfacing from the chaos. And you had to go deep within your heart and go into the darkness that you were avoiding so you can move up. So you can move up in vibration. And once you're up in that higher vibration, then you can take that old thing and you can run with it again. I almost feel like I need to revisit the book proposal and, you know, be able to do it with my new eyes. I've put it aside for about a month. But within that time, we grow. And don't underestimate the power of the growth that you're having, because you are worth whatever is coming. You are ready for whatever is coming. You had to go through some harder stuff to learn a little bit more about yourself.
Awesome. Love it. All right, so finally, our last aspect for the week, we have the moon shifting into Gemini on Saturday. Moon in Gemini is going to be really interesting as we have Mercury retrograde, and the moon in Gemini is going to be opposing that Sagittarius retrograde energy of Saturn and Mars and squaring the final few days of the retrograde energy of Jupiter in Virgo. And so the card that I pulled is Deep Knowing from Wisdom of the Oracles. Look at that owl, just centered in himself. And I think this is like the message all through the week. I'm going to show you my goddess card right now too. Don't back down. Bridget, look at that heart fire. You know within yourself the way to go. This moon in Gemini may start wanting to trick you with the mind games, the brain games. Other people's information may start, you know, coming into you. I think a lot of times we look for the control of thinking, the control of like what my thoughts say is right or wrong, or this makes sense. And this is saying, this control card in reverse, let go of that. Let go of the control. Take off the masks of needing to be right, of it needing to be in alignment with everybody else in the world. Drop into yourself, the existence card. Be true to you. Don't back down. Feel the fire of your heart. Feel your inner knowing. Your inner knowing will not lead you astray. I always go back to the yum or yuck. Does this feel yum? Does this feel good to move in this direction? Or is it feeling, oh, that's not really in alignment with me? And I look at this with myself. I maintain that we have these answers. We know these things within ourselves. We may be like, oh, it's kind of okay. And meanwhile, the rest of us like, kind of okay isn't what I want to feel. I want to feel good. I want to feel alive. I want to feel heart-centered and open in this. So really listen to that. Listen to your deeper inner knowing of that. And don't worry about the control. Is this right or wrong? Again, it reminds me of my message for the Taurus new moon. You're so future-oriented that you're not in this moment. So don't get so future-oriented that you're worrying about that outcome. Instead, where are you now, right now? Be present in that. Be thinking in that. And the final card, allow the transformation in that by thinking, being present with, in the now, right now, and your deeper inner knowing and your juicy heart juice. That's what came up, like heart juice. Get in the energy of that and you'll be moving along fine. Although, like I said, there may be some tricky mind energy coming up with this moon in Gemini. So, you know, it may try to take you off your path. But if you sink in, you're going to be good. Sink in. Don't back down to the mind. Think of like heart and brain in the awkward Yeti. And heart's like, that's fine that you said that. I'm going to go do this. That's this energy. Nicole?
Well, this is the third time I pulled the moment to moment card. And so it's exactly what Mimi was saying. So I'm going to read this little bit because it is the third time I pulled it. And then I'll go into what it's around. This card challenges us to move away from our preoccupations with other spaces and other times. Stay alert to what is happening in the here and now. Life is a great ocean in which you can play if you drop all your judgments, preferences, and attachments. I got to honor my dog barking like a nut because my husband is at home. Be available to what comes your way. And don't worry if you stumble and fall. Just pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, have a good laugh, and carry on. So here's an interesting thing that is coming up, I think. I have the sexuality card and the immunity card coming up. And so I think that there's going to be a rejuvenation around sexuality, but you have to let go of the past. Maybe you were in a relationship where you had a bad sexual experience or some abuse, or even, I'm going to go with the big R word, maybe there was a rape, and you have a hard time trusting men again. But I feel like there's, like, you've dealt with the betrayal, you've dealt with the sadness, the fear of what had happened in this old relationship or in this old event is starting to melt away. You're starting to find your heart again, thank God. And that is going to bring you in and start bringing new lovers to you. And you might be going, am I ready to take on that intimacy again? Am I ready to take on someone who's actually worthy for me? But this time I feel like you've learned so much that you have some immunity, you have protection, that isn't going to happen again. So it's time, and I feel like the fear, like, inside of me, and I don't know, it's not even mine. I almost feel like I'm being empathic right now. And I feel like this fear and this heat melting off of me. You're okay. You're safe. And if you do start, maybe somebody comes in and you're like, oh my God, am I going to do this? You know, I think it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to re-enter your sexuality, to open up yourself in that way again. Moment to moment, stay here. You know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom. When it comes to that, you have to be very present. And I think that this might open up to you. So yay. But heal you in a sexual way. Sexual healing. But that's what I get for that. And that you're being guided, you're being blessed, you're being spiritually led to this. So this is to help you with this past issue.
I hear Logan panting right there.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, of course this message is coming in as my husband comes in and the dog is freaking out, and I'm like, ay. But it happens. Hopefully it didn't diminish the importance of that message.
Not at all. It was loud and clear, even through the panting.
The panting,
exactly. Animal nature. So, Nicole, you're doing something really cool tonight. Why don't you tell them about that?
So tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, it will be 6 o'clock Mountain Time, my time, or 5 o'clock, over in Mimi World. I will be live on Facebook, and I'm going to be giving out 5 readings. If you're the first person to comment on the link, on the actual link that I post, you will be the first person who gets the reading. Don't worry if you're not the first person. We're going to put everybody into a bit of a lottery system, and through the hour and a half that I'm going to be on, we'll be pulling 4 other names. Then I'll do a 15-minute group reading, and at the very end, I'm going to give away a grand prize, and that will be a free half-an-hour reading sometime in the week that we'll schedule that evening. But you have to be there. You have to be online on the call to receive your reading if you get picked, and at the end. And if you don't, if you don't claim it in that moment, I'll pick somebody else and see who gets it. But you have to be there to claim it. And it's free. It's free. Everybody was like, is it free? I'm like, yes, it's free.
And is it going to be on what page on Facebook?
I'm going to link it I'm going to put a link on all. I'm actually going to be doing it on because it's easier to do it on my personal page, but I'll put a link to me on my, on Gaia Blooming and on Coaching with Nikki. So awesome. Nicole Brightfeller Oman is my personal. You can also go on Gaia Blooming Facebook page. That will be on there. I'll put a link, or mine, Coaching with Nikki.
Awesome. So fun. I look forward to watching that. And check us out. Book a reading if you're digging in deep and you want to know what's happening for you personally in your astro chart or through cards with Nikki. Book a reading. Dive in. Check out our daily energy that we post every day, all over the place. We're all over the internet. GaiaBlooming.com, Coaching with Nikki on Instagram, Gaia Blooming Facebook, where we both post our daily energy reports. And I think that's it. Is that it?
I think so.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.
Namaste.